Hey Nathan, you know we've been driving and reviewing cars now for 10 years.
TFL's been around for a while now.
Yeah, I remember when you had, no, you didn't have hair back then.
I really didn't. I had a different beard. It was a little lighter, that's about it.
So in this walk down memory lane, we're gonna give you the top 10 best and of course worst cars that we've driven over the last 10 years. And I think it would be fair to say that we've probably driven every car, almost every car, and certainly every truck made over the last 10 years.
Oh, without a doubt.
This is a two-part series. First, we're gonna do the best cars, and then tomorrow we're gonna do the worst cars. I picked this one myself because I thought it was one of the cars that I really enjoyed, and it's a classic example of the right car, the wrong brand.
Yes.
The VW Touareg.
In the right form, it's an amazing off-road vehicle. First gen. A lot of amazing engineering, absolutely impossible vehicle to service, way too expensive to keep running. And we have one.
Yeah, we have one because I got to drive it in Europe by accident. I drove it off-road because I took a European model, and ever since I got to drive it in Europe, I was so amazed by the car. So when we had a chance to buy one that had been severely depreciated, we bought it. I mean, what more of a testament do you want than that, than buying one?
And also, it's been pretty solid.
Just creepy crawling my way up. Wheels are definitely in the air. Oh yeah. I'll take that. That feels pretty good.
Yeah, and the next car we also have, or had, until a bit of an accident.
Me?
Which was the Tesla Model 3. It's a car that's really changing, revolutionizing automotive history at some point.
Absolutely. Whether you love or hate Tesla, you have to admit their numbers are looking good, and the Model 3 is one of their main sellers. And one of the reasons why, it's a flexible car, gives you all-wheel drive if you want it, and it is fast.
And it's affordable to some extent.
To some extent.
I do have a little indicator up here on the screen that tells me when I'm accelerating with the throttle, and when I'm regenning, it turns black or green depending on the situation. But what it means is that the regen is so strong in this car that often I am applying throttle to keep the car at a certain speed and it's still regenning. So it can be a fun game to try to see how much you can regen over a period of time.
Yeah, it's the car that is putting Tesla on the map, right? Because the Model S was way too expensive, the Model X was too complicated and too expensive, but the Model 3 seems to be clicking with people. Now this next one is certainly a sentimental favorite of mine. Do you remember this car? It was the Chevy Grand Sport.
Yeah,
Corvette.
The Chevy Corvette Grand Sport. It's a funny thing because it's not the fastest Corvette by far, and not even close, but it has the personality, it has the feel, and it has the looks of a winner. And honestly speaking, for the guy who wants to drive a car every day, this is the best Corvette I've ever driven.
Yeah, it'll put lead in your pencil, right? Is that what you used to say?
Yeah, you'll put a little bit of lead in that pencil. Yeah.
Yes, it will. It will. And the next one will put a little bit of lead in my pencil because I loved it as an off-roader. It is the Land Rover LR4, right?
Right.
And actually, we bought an LR3, not an LR4 because it's a little bit beyond our budget. But the LR4 was kind of the culmination of the Discovery series of Land Rovers, right? It was boxy, it was off-road worthy, and it wasn't the LR5.
Yeah, that's right.
This is about as much fun as you can have off-road. This car is so supremely capable that even in these deep, very deep ruts, it feels like I'm sitting on a pillow.
Actually, it's a fantastic vehicle. Of course, there's problems with it, but I think it was the first time in my book that I drove a Land Rover where I thought to myself, wow, if I had the real money, I might actually buy one of these.
Yeah, and I've been looking at the brown one. There's a brown one and there's a bronze one. Those are the two colors that really do it for me.
The bronze one looks really good.
Yeah, beautiful car. All right, the next one, when we still used to get Porsches, Porsche hasn't given us a car for a long time. I don't think they have cars in the Denver press fleet, really.
They don't have any cars in the whole fleet.
So it's nothing personal, it's just that they don't have them here. But remember, it was the bright yellow 911 991.
That 991 was one of my favorite cars ever.
Even the color was way cool.
Yeah, it really was. I enjoyed driving it. I fit in it because Germans are big and they understand that big people need a car. It actually got decent mileage. Everything about owning that car for the temporary week that we had it was just excellent.
And you're right, it was absolutely tragic and temporary because we put a nail in the tire. And we couldn't drive it for, out of the 7 days we get it.
Yeah.
3 or 4 of them, we couldn't drive it.
Well, we had the car twice. The point is that car was truly amazing and I miss it.
All right, next one you also bought, another testament, the Jeep Wrangler. Pick anyone, really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
JK, JL, YJ, TJ, a lot of favorite for many people, and of course the new JL. They're all just really great. It's the only off-roader / convertible that I can think of that's seriously an off-roader.
Out of the box, if you get the right Wrangler, you are getting one of the best off-road vehicles you can buy. I mean, that's a fact.
I feel he's gonna hit his bumper.
You know what, don't turn quite so hard, Dan. Come back, there's a little driver right there.
Good hit, nice.
Nice music, nice stuff. Good, good right there. Perfect.
Good driving, dude. Thanks, appreciate it. Good driving.
Awesome, nice stuff. Now start slowly turning driver's side. Good, keep going, keep going.
Say what you want about reliability or whatever, we've had some pretty good luck with most of them that we've owned at TFL.
Yeah, and they've all been as honest and as real. That's the best word to describe it, I think, honest. It is just what it is, right? Sometimes the more technology and the more kind of design you put into it, the less honest it becomes. This thing is what it is. It's an off-roader with big axles and big tires and, you know, a straight-up windscreen that's like driving a brick wall into the wind, but it works.
It works. All right, another vehicle
That works, yep.
that really does work is the Toyota 4Runner.
Yep, I agree.
Oh, man. I know it's old, it's ancient, but it is so well sorted. It's a great off-roader. It's a nice road trip vehicle. It actually has a half-decent ride. It rides better than any Wrangler in my book, but at the same time, it has that baked-in Toyota reliability. I know guys who are getting 250,000 miles out of these things without replacing the transmission or the engine. It's incredible.
Yeah, and any generation, you won't go wrong.
Yeah, you really won't.
The next one I think is interesting because BMW came up with two really progressive and innovative cars, and only one of them made this list, and that is the BMW i8. I think when I first saw it, I first saw it like at the Frankfurt airport. They had one sitting, you know, in the middle of the terminal. I did not a double take, like a quadruple take. I thought that is a sexy car. For some serious fun driving. And when you can combine a car that looks as sexy as this thing does with driving dynamics that put a huge smile on my face, you've got a winner.
It is the closest thing I've ever seen BMW build that looked like a concept car. I couldn't believe they built it. Now, driving it is a different story, especially for
to get in and out
big
of.
boy. It's not elegant to get in and out of no matter who you are. You have to be freaking Tom Cruise in order to get in and out of that thing comfortably, because you have to lift up half your body and kind of get it over a massive sill to kind of lower yourself into the seat. But it's form over function, and you know, it's a gorgeous car. It's beautiful.
It does commit kind of one of the bigger sins in the auto industry, which is it looks faster than it is.
Yeah, you know, you would think that car. I mean, it's quick. Don't get me wrong, it is quick.
Yeah, but it's got a mini, you know, turbo.
Yeah, a little 3-cylinder turbo,
Yeah,
right?
I know,
And then the electric power. So it's not exactly what I would call a competitor for the P1 from McLaren.
But it looks like it's
Just amazing.
The next car looks fast, and it is incredibly fast, and I just got to drive it recently, and I was actually really worried about driving it because usually cars like this, while they are fast in a straight line, are not so around a track, and this thing was a pussycat around the track. It's of course the Ford new GT 500. I was in Vegas, I drove it around the track, and Nathan, it made me look like a race car driver, and that's saying a lot because I'm not great on the track, and this car was so easy, so fun, so fast, so loud, everything you wanted. It's kind of the swan song in some ways, I think, of the internal combustion engine.
It could be. It is the fastest Ford Mustang ever built.
The cool thing about drag racing is it's pretty bulletproof. So the question is, can I get into the 10s? Oh yeah! That is fun! You get a little bit of tunnel vision? Yeah!
In many ways, I think that this carries on the spirit that was established back in the days when Shelby took over and started building fast Mustangs. So it really, I think it embodies that spirit. I'm not thrilled about a few things. It has that dialed rotary transmission.
dial, yeah.
I'm not thrilled about that, but for the most part, it's an incredible car.
And the next car actually kind of bookends the muscle car era in some ways. Of course, it's the Dodge Hellcat, and I'd go with the wide body just because I think it looks cool. And if you want the straight line speed, go with the Demon.
Yeah, the Demon, but the Dodge Hellcat wide body, you can buy one of those with a manual transmission. So if you're a seriously crazy man and you want massive control of massive power, you can do it.
Yeah, I went off the track. Woo! That was close.
And it's one of the few cars on this list that actually gives you a manual transmission as an option with that much horsepower.
Once again, we bought one. The next one we also took on a track, which was a Fiat 500 Bart.
Great car. Great car. If you guys are looking for just silly fun, you don't want to go as extreme perhaps as a GTI, but you want something that is very affordable. And sadly, the 500s are going away, so this is the right car for those people who just want a lot of fun, some Italian brio, and I'm sorry, but I still think it's one of the best driving cars in its class because it's just, it's awesome.
It's also very quirky, right?
Yeah, it is.
The driver's seat, I think, is lower than the passenger seat. It's got this weird transmission that's up here.
Yeah, and it's only a 5-speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has this definite feel to it, though, that, the exhaust is just angry and shouting and blah, 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 and I love it. I took one home, and my wife hated it, and I knew it was a good car the minute I brought it home.
Speaking of two cars that I would love to take home, the Lexus LC and, of course, the old ISF. Both of those. One is sexy, and the other one is fast.
It's funny, we were talking about the Corvette Grand Sport.
Yep.
I had a Grand Sport on the track. I'm not a track star by any means, but I was going pretty good around the track in the Grand Sport, and one of my friends who's a far better driver in a Lexus ISF flew past me and actually drifted around me kind of to humiliate me. It was Jonathan. And the Lexus LC might be the prettiest Asian vehicle I have ever seen since, say, the
They nailed the styling.
they did. It's just beautiful car.
Now, this next vehicle is my favorite on this list. It is the one that I still, at some point before I pass on, hope to buy. Unfortunately, is way out of our budget. It's the Mercedes-Benz G-Class Squared.
Right.
Which actually I ran over you in it. Remember, you laid down. It was so tall that I actually got to run over you.
Yeah,
You got to see the underneath up close and personal.
Yeah, I did. I got to see the underneath up close and personal. Being run over by a German vehicle, any German vehicle, is a little harrowing. But in this case, it's an incredible vehicle because it's just, there's so much cachet.
It's just crazy. You shouldn't build a car that's tall
No.
that fast and that like wobbly, because it is.
It really is.
With portal axles, I mean, crazy.
I'm not sure about that.
All right, bring it on.
Down.
Whoa!
Slower.
Slow.
Slower, slower, slower.
Ugh. Mercedes tastes so good. And there's thousands and thousands of them in Los Angeles, which makes no sense whatsoever.
And they're still $250,000.
Yeah, and it'll never fit in our garage.
No, it'll never fit in my
Just
budget
won't
either. All right, the next two are very similar, so I'm going to put them together. I'm going to lump them together. The Buick GS and the Chevy SS, and both were good cars that did not succeed.
No, the Buick Regal, now that was based on a European design, and that car had a lot going for it. At one point you could get a manual transmission, and it had a really hot turbocharged engine. You could get all-wheel drive. Roman and I got a chance to take one of these into the ice in Canada, and it was a blast. The Chevy SS, on the other hand, that's actually based on a Holden design, Australian design. And that car, for some reason, Chevrolet never advertised it. They never really seemed to care much about it. But it was like basically a Corvette with 4 doors. It was awesome on the track. It just didn't look the part, you know what I mean? It looked kind of mellow.
Yeah.
And maybe that was part of the problem, but it just didn't sell.
Now the next two cars are probably some of the best we've driven this year. The Kia Telluride and / the Hyundai Palisade.
Oh yeah.
They're sister cars. Both basically have the interior of BMW X7 at a third of the cost. They're incredible.
They really are well screwed together cars, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where you look at Hyundai Kia and going, 10 years ago, you guys are selling us kind of crappy cars, and now this?
The Telluride is the most expensive car as configured here, and it really shows. I mean, these seats are about one step below that of an X7. They're just really beautiful and extremely comfortable. Really nice and soft headrest, plenty of headroom, plenty of legroom, very comfortable seating position here in the driver's seat.
Every year, Hyundai Kia has improved every single year since they've been in the United States. And you can look at the quality control, you can look at the actual vehicles they're building, you can look at the fact that their cars are selling quite well. The bottom line is these two vehicles really do encapsulate how good this company is.
Yeah, and if you want something that's sporty from Kia, the Stinger is another one.
Oh, the Stinger's great.
Yeah, basically you're getting an Audi for much less money because it's the same designer, came from Audi, Peter Schreier. Hyundai's also poached the BMW M guy, Albert Biermann.
Yeah, Biermann.
Yeah, so I mean, they're just, they're selling in a lot of ways German performance at Korean cost.
And look at it this way, one of the cars of the year from a lot of people, including us, we agree it's a fantastic car, is the Genesis, the G70,
yeah,
which is a cousin to the Kia Stinger. They share a lot of the same bits. And I absolutely adore that car, and rightfully so. So once again, these guys have been on fire.
Cadillac CTS-V wagon.
Oh, man.
They built like 500 and they were only bought by automotive journalists. CTS-V was cool, but the wagon took it to the triple XL coolness.
Welcome to the wildest ride in America, up here in Leadville, Colorado. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? I'm good at this. Yeah, I fit. It's comfy. It's just a little low. So we had one. This is the early days when Roman and I were first starting to really get together and do real films. And Roman met me at this place, so we were going to go in the mountains, and Roman said, a cop pulled me over, and after looking over the car, came up to me and told me to drive the car like I stole it.
I thought I was getting a ticket. He just wanted to check out the car.
That's the coolest thing ever, right?
Yeah, it was cool.
It's a beast.
And the other car that I think is actually important in more than just because it's a great car, it's also important because of the brand. It's the Lincoln Navigator, right?
Yeah.
It's the first car, maybe truck in this case, that is actually bringing back the big American luxury vehicle, right? Let's face it, the Asians in a lot of ways have owned the economy car,
Yeah.
right? The Germans own the performance luxury sedan, and at least this car is as American as it gets.
It is truly, and credit to Lincoln and Ford. They managed to take a name brand that was about to go away. We're pretty sure that they were days away from being,
One foot in the grave,
removed. And the Lincoln Navigator, amongst other vehicles that they produced, has single-handedly actually
Yeah, I mean, it was the
pulled
first,
them up.
first in that line.
Yeah.
Navigator, then Aviator,
the Corsair.
The Corsair,
all
yeah,
these-
and they're returning to real names too. How cool is that?
I really do appreciate that. Roman, I'm going to quickly just fire off 5 names.
Okay.
And because we did mention a couple trucks on here,
Yeah.
but there's trucks from almost every automaker have been awesome
Here's your
this
bonus,
year.
guys.
Okay, so quick bonus on the good. The Raptor, the Power Wagon, the Colorado ZR2, the Tacoma TRD Pro, the Nissan Frontier Pro 4X. Fantastic vehicles, all of them for various reasons, and we have a million videos on those vehicles. So I just wanted to throw that into the good pile.
I would agree with all that.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. Those are the best cars that Nathan and I have driven over the last 10 years. So be sure to come back tomorrow when we'll profile probably the ones you've been waiting for. Yep, the worst cars. Thanks for watching, and check out tflcar.com for more news, views, and of course, real-world reviews.